Hello everybody, how are you guys doing? Welcome of course back to the post-Nintendo Switch Rule of 2 review. So can you guys believe it? We're actually living in a post-Nintendo Switch world. We are living in a world where Nintendo's newest, brand new, and most freaking awesome and fantastic next generation console is officially out on the market, and many of us, myself of course included, do own one. We've been playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild like our eyes are going to explode and fall out of our heads and our thumbs are going to fall off for the last 24 to almost now 48 hours, and it's been so freaking awesome. Now, of course, if you caught my last video, I discussed my initial impressions of the Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild after about 3 to 4 or so hours worth of playtime. And through that, one of the things that you know that I love about the Nintendo Switch, and that I've talked about even after I played the Nintendo Switch in New York in January, are the JoyCons. Well, they are one of my absolute favorite things about the idea and the promise of the Nintendo Switch. The comfort, of course, is something that I definitely find to be quite amicable. There's a couple of things to kind of nitpick and pull apart a little bit about a lot of things Switch-related, which does include some Joy-Con aspects, and I will eventually make a video specifically on those negatives and those drawbacks. But overall, and for the most part, I love the Joy-Cons, and you guys know it. I've been talking about it for a month and a half since I first got my hands on them, and I still feel that way now that I actually own them and own a Switch and have been playing it for over 24 hours. But in the aftermath of my excitement of finally owning and setting up my Switch and playing with it and the Pro Controller and the Joy-Cons and Zelda and all that good stuff, I started to realize something pretty important about the Joy-Cons, and a theory or a feeling I want to say that I really wanted to get out and share with you guys and anyone else maybe within the industry who might come across my small little YouTube channel and this video, because I think it's pretty important when it comes to the Joy-Cons and what they need to be successful. So here's the thing. When it comes to the Joy-Cons, I think that there are two main and very obvious elements to them that we all know about that make them unique and make them special. And it's not just the fact that it's two controllers that attach to the side of the tablet, or that you can hold one in your left and one in your right hand and play that way, or even split it between two people. It's not that. It's the new technology that's built into them. Obviously, I'm talking about the HD Rumble, and of course that reverse IR sensor that's on the bottom of the right Joy-Con. Now, as you guys have heard me say for, like I said, at this point almost 2 months, I think that that technology is really, really cool. When I was in New York, I did have a chance to play 1-2 Switch, which is the game that most notably utilizes the HD Rumble and some of the IR sensor stuff, and it blew me away. Both myself and other Robert thought it was really, really cool stuff. Now, in thinking about 1-2 Switch and how that game utilizes and takes advantage of the new technology in the Joy-Cons and for the Switch, it got me thinking about what other games are going to need to do in the future to actually make this worthwhile. Basically, kind of trying to figure out in my own brain and discuss with you guys if the Joy-Cons are successful currently, and if they'll remain successful. It kind of reminds me of when the Wii U came out, and how really exciting and cool the promise and the prospect of the gamepad was. And you guys have probably heard me say, I do still love the gamepad even to this day, now that the Wii U is officially a last generation and completely defunct console. I really thought that gamepad was great. It wasn't utilized well enough on a regular basis, unfortunately. There's probably a handful of games I could count on both my hands that actually take advantage of the gamepad in a way that felt really like worthwhile and valuable and kind of taking proper advantage of what it was supposed to do. And I think that that's a shame. But back when it first launched, it was like, cool, okay, here's Nintendo's new console, here's the new kind of quirky thing that makes it unique and makes it uniquely Nintendo, this weird gyro-sensing touchscreen camera-having gamepad controller. This is the future of what Nintendo's doing, and it's going to make gaming different and cooler and more fun in a lot of ways. Fast forward 4.5 years to today, and it turns out that that really didn't turn out to be the case, and it's too bad, and definitely one of the reasons I think that the Wii U didn't catch on in the way that I think a lot of us in Nintendo really wanted it to. And so now that we're within this first 2 days of the Nintendo Switch and these Joy-Cons, it's got me wondering the same thing. Right now, they're a really exciting prospect. To me, I know a lot of people maybe aren't so into them and don't really feel a lot of hype or interest or feel like there's a lot of value to what they could be doing and adding to gaming, which makes me sad, but to a large degree I can understand that, and that's totally fine. But for myself, and I think for a lot of other people, and also probably Nintendo, we see them as potentially great. We see a really bright future for them if utilized properly, so it makes me start to realize Okay, 1-2 Switch is the only game that's really taking full advantage and trying to showcase the new technology in the JoyCons. But what happens after that? 1-2 Switch isn't the mass appeal game to the hardcore gamer like a lot of us would really want a game like that to be, considering the fact that it's sold separately and for the outrageous price of $50. If it was a pack-in game like a demo sort of piece of software like we've all compared it to Wii Sports or Nintendo Land, it would be a different story, and 1-2 Switch might be seen as a little bit better than it's being reviewed, and we might be receiving it well and thinking, oh, okay, wow, this really is cool what you can do with these Joy-Cons and this technology. But it's kind of alienated itself, I should say, as something a little bit different and something unfortunately not worth our time. So once we all move past the initial kind of freshness and excitement of a brand new Nintendo console, these brand new Joy-Cons and all of the new technology, we get past whatever, excitement, if you want to call it, of 1-2 Switch. And it's like, okay, if these Joy-Cons are going to be successful, Nintendo and video game industry, what needs to come next? What needs to happen to make these things seen as really great technology? It's a really important question to ask, I think, and it's one that I hope Nintendo is asking itself. What needs to happen here? I think that we need more actual quality core gaming experiences to take advantage of these controllers. I really hope that they're not relegated to one or two family mini game, party game type of experiences every year throughout the next couple of years. If that's what these things are, if that's what the Joy-Cons turn out to be, besides just the way to play this game in the system, I should say, in portable mode, I think that that's going to be a problem. It's going to turn out to be wasted potential. It's going to be very disappointed for myself because I do think that they're so cool and so excited for what's going to happen. And it's going to be seen as, well, that's the new gimmicky, weird motion control thing that Nintendo tried that turned out to be a waste and turned out to be a failure. At the end of the day, really taking this new technology that Nintendo creates and making it something that's only used for party games and for family scenarios and things like that means it's not really getting the job done, and it's going to go down as not memorable and really not successful. Obviously, the Wii is kind of what sparked this idea, I think, within Nintendo, that they're like, hey, we can make this cool, quirky, different way to interact with your video game systems and your controllers, and it'll be picked up by all these families and soccer moms and the kids and all this stuff, and it's going to make us a bunch of money and be really successful. It worked with the Wii for the majority of its life, but it obviously isn't going to work long term, and I think that the Wii U proved that. So with these Joy-Cons, I really hope that Nintendo is realizing, okay, we get the 1-2 Switch thing out of the way, we get the Nintendo Switch and the Joy-Cons launched, it's in everyone's home, great, what do we do next? Well, we need to make kick-ass games taking advantage of these controllers. Now, we can't leave ARMS out of this conversation because, of course, ARMS is Nintendo's first-party attempt to really make these Joy-Cons something special in a more core gaming experience. Very excited for that. I played it in New York. It's really freaking cool. There is so much potential. I believe that game is going to really blow people away, including how the Joy-Cons actually feel and react when you're playing that game. It's super awesome. Unfortunately, I didn't get any really good footage of myself and Robert playing it, so I don't have any of that to show you guys in this video today. But it's really cool. So we know Nintendo's taking an initial stab at using the Joy-Cons in a more core gaming experience. And a new IP, which is a big deal. So that's great. That's awesome. Very excited to see how ARMS plays out and how it's received to the gaming public. But I think that we need to see a Nintendo that works to try to make these Joy-Cons work in other gaming experiences. I've said this before. I believe Metroid's coming. If there's a way to make the HD Rumble and the IR sensor technology in the Joy-Cons integral to, maybe not, okay, I'm going to change my wording there. I don't want to say integral to the next Metroid experience, or like a new Star Fox or an F-Zero or Mario Odyssey, whatever else they might be making, Animal Crossing, all these first-party stuff. I don't think that they need to make it necessarily integral, but they need to make it something that remarkably enhances the experience without them. So let's say the next Metroid comes out, or the next F-Zero comes out, and it's just the base experience of the next Metroid or Star Fox or F-Zero comes out, and it's like, wow, this is a great game. This Metroid game is awesome when I'm using a Pro controller with no other special features. Great, that's cool, it's a 9 out of 10. But then there are a bunch of really sweet enhancements and features packed into the gaming experience that once you've got those Joy-Cons, and I mean, to be fair, the HD Rumble does exist in the Pro controller, so really once you have any of these controllers for the Switch in your hands, and they want to activate something in an HD Rumble sort of feature, or something that uses the motion control or the IR pointer in some weird way, however you could use that reverse IR pointer, all of a sudden, your base level kick-ass Metroid or F-Zero experience is being taken to a whole new level, and it starts to show people, wow, a game can be great without these kooky Nintendo features, but once Nintendo throws these into the mix, the game is just shot into the stratosphere of awesomeness because of this cool technology and cool imaginative ideas that only a company like Nintendo can bring to us and give the gamers. I really think that these are the key and important points for us to remember and for Nintendo to be taking note of and thinking about, and I think that Nintendo is doing that. But outside of Nintendo, there's also the dreaded third-party industry of the video game industry, which of course I do for the most part really enjoy. You guys know that. I love my third-party stuff to color my gaming palette alongside of my awesome Nintendo stuff. So when it comes to looking at third-party content on the Switch and what these other companies might end up releasing on the console, that's the other big question mark when it comes to the Joy-Cons as well. I would love to see companies that have pledged strong support for the Nintendo Switch, like Bethesda, like From Software, like Activision and Ubisoft and all these other companies, Electronic Arts, hello. You know, I'd like to see these companies say, oh man, we can make a great, unique, exclusive experience on the Nintendo Switch, and let's see what cool ideas we can come up with to take advantage of the Joy-Cons and the HD Rumble and all these new features that Nintendo has packed into this console. I hope that Nintendo is also talking with these companies to really urge them and coax them into seeing that there's an advantage and saying, hey, if you guys want to make these games on our console, that's great. Hopefully we can all win and make a bunch of money and have a successful product. We recommend, or we suggest, or maybe even contractually require, that could happen, contractually require you to use HD Rumble or IR sensing technology in this new game you're making for our console. And it would also be nice if a lot of these companies say, hey, we're going to be bringing Destiny 2 over to the Switch, we're going to be bringing Red Dead Redemption 2 over to the Switch, Dead Space 4, whatever random games you want to throw out there. We're going to bring this to the Switch. Well, we can actually make cooler, better versions of our games on the Switch because we can do cooler things with this new technology that the Joy-Cons offer us. Now, to be fair, in wrapping this video up, I totally get that in order to think this way about the third-party companies implementing the Joy-Con technology into their games, that I'm reaching. I'm really stretching to feel like a lot of these companies have showed us that they're willing to try to do these things and take advantage of Nintendo's ideas. Whereas most of the third-party industry is into pushing online multiplayer, microtransactions, and graphics and polygons and 4K resolution count pushing and all that stuff. That's more what they're into, as opposed to the unique, quirky ways to interact with your games. So it's not likely, to be fair, and if I'm going to be totally honest with myself, that a lot of the third-party industry will pick up on this. I do have to throw a special shout out to Ubisoft. I know that they've been very unique and polarizing and controversial in the Nintendo space the last couple of years, and I've definitely ridden that hype of good and bad when it comes to Ubisoft. But if we're going to be completely honest and fair to that company, they have shown us time and time again with the Wii and with the Wii U that they're willing to at least come out of the gate and try really hard at first. And that counts for something, you guys. All the crappy things that they do, you know, intermittently throughout these periods, I get it, and those are problems, but we have to give credit where it's due, and Ubisoft has tried several times and even succeeded when it comes to trying to really capitalize on Nintendo's unique ideas and technologies and controllers. So I would like to believe that they have a couple of things planned to really make sure that the Joy-Cons and this new technology Nintendo's created is going to be utilized the way we want. So fingers crossed that Ubisoft and other companies decide to do the same thing, because at the end of the day, you guys, I'm going to end this video here. If Nintendo doesn't take advantage the way they kind of messed up with the Wii U, and if the third-party companies don't take advantage of this new technology like we want them to, then it really may be that brand new, forgotten Nintendo technology that even if the Switch sells well and is successful outside of that, it's going to be like, well, but they also tried these weird kooky controller things and none of that stuff worked out. Maybe Nintendo needs to stop trying to do that. And I don't want to see that happen, especially because I think the Joy-Cons are so cool. So I don't know, man. What do you guys think about this? Do you kind of follow my logic in what I'm saying here? Do you feel like after 1-2 Switch and ARMS, are we going to see other games from Nintendo and hopefully also third parties that take advantage of the new Joy-Con features? Or do you think it's going to kind of be relegated to that gimmick that sort of exists but really doesn't, and we kind of forget about after another year or two into the Switch's life? That would be really sad to me, but it could happen. Do you guys think that's going to happen, or do you see a potentially bright future for Nintendo and other companies to take advantage of these really cool Joy-Con controllers that Nintendo has created? Definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on my weird idea here. So I think that's it for now, guys. So thanks, of course, for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review. I hope everyone is enjoying their Nintendo Switches and their Breath of the Wilds and all that good stuff. We got a really bright future to look forward to, I think. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time on another video.